everybody. Fight, fight, fight. It is October 24th, 2019. There's so much going on, and you are not going to want to miss this show. I'm going to bring on my partner in justice right away. Shady Grooove, welcome to the show, my brother.
Hello, Matrixxx. Let me get in here really quick because I am very, very excited for what is happening here.
Tell them what we got.
Tell them what we got today.
Tell them what we got today, Shady.
Mr. Zach Vorhies is joining us to share with us some of the inside intel on how Google is censoring the people out there who are trying to share the truth with the world.
That's right. You know, he's a senior software engineer at Google and YouTube, and he discovered the censorship. And here he is. He's putting his whole being on the line to talk about the Google stuff and the censorship. He was recently on Glenn Beck's show. Congratulations on that. He's been all over the news. He's obviously Project Veritas had him featured. He's been on AmpFest. That's where I actually kind of got to know him a little bit. Zach, why don't you come on in here, Zach?
All right.
Welcome to the show, my friend. And we kind of tried to meet at AmpFest, but wasn't that a great event, my friend?
Yeah, it was just like near each other, but we never quite connected, did we?
I know, and you probably had the same kind of thing. You walked 10 feet, people wanted to talk to you. It was really hard to get from point A to point B over there.
Now, how did they find you? Because, you know, you've been in the Matrixxx for so long, and how did they, know that it was you?
I was doxxed, as you know, by the deep state with all these, interesting lies, and I had to come out as myself. I think it's probably safer. Being on Hillary Clinton's top 200 list, is maybe dangerous. I don't know. I don't think I've ever wanted to be on a Clinton list. You
were on a Clinton list?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? So,
no.
In February, Hillary Clinton went ahead and tweeted out a Politico article, right? Let me just go find it real quick, just so you can see it. This is it right here.
Before the election, right?
Yeah. Can you see my screen, Zach, right there?
I can.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
So this is it right here. So let's just, forget.
This is the Q post.
Forget this is a Q post for a minute, right? Here is blue check mark, and I'm sorry, guys, eye bleach might be needed. There she is. There's the Hillary Clinton, right? There she is. In light of evidence, Russia's interfered. So this is the article that she posted on February 20th, 2019. Politico reports today a wide-ranging disinformation campaign aimed at Democratic 2020 candidates is already underway on social media with signs that foreign state actors are driving at least some of the activity. We are foreign state actors. Okay, so this is the article.
Not like Pierre Delecto.
I am Pierre Delecto. Have you met Pierre Delecto yet? All right, so we have some fun too. Yes, I do a Pierre Delecto. Hey, Pierre, say something good about me.
You might find Bill in here too.
Hey, Zach, I don't know why you're telling everybody our secrets. I'm really disappointed.
Bill's been trying to keep this stuff secret for years, Zach, and you're coming in and you're blowing the lid off of it.
Right, so we have some fun here too on the Matrixxx Groove Hour.
Bill's taking heat from his wife because
I voted for Trump. Don't tell Hillary, okay? All right, so
don't say that on the air,
Bill. So if you go right here, this is the article she retweeted, and within is an embedded link right here. It says the same group of same core group of accounts the company first identified in last year in a study as anchoring a wide-scale influence campaign in the 2018 elections. And this is done by IWR.AI, and it's called vote fraud because I used the hashtag. It was calling out vote fraud, right? This is an interactive list of 200 Twitter people that they want off Twitter. Okay, interactive. Boom. These guys are gone, right, with the red. There's one up here.
They got their own kill list, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not Alex Jones, by the way. This is Immoral Report.
Account.
But uses that. Look at this guy right here, Zach. Does that guy look familiar?
Mm-hmm.
There he is. I am on Hillary Clinton's top 200 list that she tweeted out, and it was a Politico article. And Q says this. Let's just go and see what Q said. Look at that. He even puts.
Q posted all the Twitter accounts.
Right. So, Patriots, you have been selected as threats and falsely labeled as foreign disinfo agents, though they attempt to disguise at the bottom as not all. This is an attempt to target and remove by false pretense all threatening voices. Elimination of free speech to prevent loss of control. These actions are now being monitored and would strongly encourage forwarding this information to the appropriate members of Congress, Senate, and the media. We believe that this is a test run to effectively silence the opposition while testing the potential media backlash and or official response. This attempt to remove, silence, fascism, those who oppose their view narrative should further demonstrate their resolve to control the message narrative, win at any cost. And this one here, too. For those who think this war is fake or we are not considered a major threat, this is a direct attack by Hillary Clinton on Q and pro-POTUS patriots. The article referenced has an embedded link that literally targets pro-POTUS Q Twitter accounts that have been identified by Clinton deep state as serious threats, ability to shift the narrative. Twitter has already begun to remove the targeted accounts, stages under false pretenses. This war is real. The threat is real. Clinton panic, Clinton fear, judgment day coming. Q.
Love it. Love it. Can you? I'm going to go there. I'm going to follow. Can you send me that as a link? Because I'd like to follow every single one of those accounts.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. And everybody should. Let me go ahead and these are I sent this to you earlier. These are all my.
You can actually just
cues.
make sure you could just drop in the link to the search that you have right there in Zoom, and he'll have it.
Copy.
Great.
Copy. All right. So back to you. This is not about me, Zach. This is about you. You are on our show and you're interviewing me. Wait a minute. What happened here?
I stood back and let him work on you there for a minute.
He did. And I'm so honored to have you here because we have a little bit in common too. We both have worked in the high tech industry, right? Zach there he is right there. He's been with Google. He's been with Facebook. You've actually done some movie stuff. You've been with YouTube. So why don't you give us a little bit of your background, Zach, as I flip over.
Okay, so I guess let's start with my educational background. I've got majors in computer science, psychology, and mathematics. I was a triple major.
Wow.
And then I went into the games industry. First in my hometown, well, actually my college town of Eugene, Oregon. And then I came down to Lucasfilm and worked with their games division, working on the Indiana Jones and Star Wars games. I then went to Google and stayed there for, well, first it was 5.5 years and then again for 3 years. The first 5.5 years I was there working on the Google Earth project and put it into the Audi navigation system. I then left in 2013 to start my own company, which still exists today, though it doesn't make as much money as it
How
used
many
to.
years did you work at the Google Earth in the Audi system? How many years was that?
5.5 years.
5. Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, in retrospect, it might have been a better idea to stay rather than make my own company. But I did actually help. No, I can't. I have to take that back. Everything that I've done has been leading up to this point, right? Like I started my own company and then I make the world's best cycling glove, which is an LED panel on the back that lights up.
Oh,
when
wow.
you click a couple contact pads on your hand. And on the first build of that product, I tried to import electronics from the United States because I wanted to keep at least some of the production in the United States rather than just give it all to China. So I was like, well, you know, I can't make the glove in the United States because the United States no longer has a textile industry. And everyone that says that they've got a textile industry really just secretly forwards it to China and then charges you more. So I went to China. I got a good factory, and I imported product from America into China, and Chinese customs seized all of it.
Whoa.
And demanded like a 25% VAT tax.
Oh, they want to tax us and put tariffs on us, right?
Yeah, so I essentially had to pay a tariff to get the product into China. And then the gloves were able to be built. And then I went, well, wait a minute, how come I'm being charged a tariff? I thought we had free trade.
Right.
And then I realized that the free trade only went one way, into the United States. And I sat down and I started thinking about this. I was like, wait a minute. So all the taxes that the United States is having to pay is income tax. That's how they generate their tax revenue. We don't really have a strong sales tax system. But in China, they have a strong sales tax system, but not a big income tax. Okay. So what I realized is that if I sold a product made from the United States into China, then I had to pay the income tax of the United States. And then on top of that, that would increase the price. And then I have to pay sales tax on the price that I would have to charge. So I would pay 2 taxes going into China. But if I made my product in China and sold in the United States, well, then I would pay almost no income tax for the employees, and then no sales tax coming into the United States, and dump it on Amazon. And then I realized,
Wow.
this is really messed up. How is this not known and talked about in every single economics thing ever? Like, why, and I turn on to the TV and I'd hear them talk about debate like free trade with China. And I went, how are these people so ignorant about what's going on? Like, I'm just like some manufacturer.
Right.
I'm able to see this complete
So they
fraud.
were incentivizing you to go to China, essentially.
The entire system is designed for us to deindustrialize the United States and send all of our workforce to China and then import.
Yep.
And after 9/11, there was like over 75,000 factories that left the U.S., 60 or more.
Yeah, there was more than that.
Yeah. So, I mean, amazing that you saw that, because like you said, I mean, it's that simple, and people, economics doesn't teach you. They don't even teach you how to balance a checkbook anymore.
No, they don't. They don't teach you any of that stuff. And, then like I applied to get like a sales tax license in San Francisco because I wanted to buy something, not pay all the sales tax because I was buying it as inputs for reselling. Once I told the government that I was a business, then a whole cascade of compliance fell on top of me. All these places wanted to be paid off. San Francisco wanted to be paid off. California wanted to be paid off. The federal government wanted to be paid off. And it's just like, and then it's like all these taxes, and the tax submission process for California is just completely broken.
Right.
And it's just like all these different regulations. And I was just like, no one can make a business. It's actually designed to destroy businesses.
Yep.
And all these things that these people were saying throughout my life, saying government's destroying my business. And I was just like, oh, you guys are just being selfish, because that's the way that I was like programmed to believe, like the stimulus response. And then I started to realize, no, wait a minute, like they're 100% right. Why are we like ignoring them? Because like I'm trying to create jobs in my local community, and I'm being unfairly targeted, just like everyone else is. And I realized that there was a destruction in place. And so, eventually, the tax compliance issue, like I had to pay so much money that I was like, I kind of like suspended, like I fired everyone in my company, and I kind of like did it all myself. And then I went back to Google because it pays really well.
Well, and that's how they get you. And, I get that. We were talking earlier, before the show. I mean, I sold technology too, and I kind of realized that, it was Cisco systems, and I even sold maintenance to Google, and Caterpillar and Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer and, you name it, and IP telephony and different technologies. And I started realizing I'm eliminating jobs for a living, man. And it kind of disappointed me, because I think it's not rocket science. I mean, no matter what label you want to put on yourself, jobs. In fact, like I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, and I knew a lot of friends that worked at Burgess Norton in Geneva, Illinois, and they were able to buy a house, have a car, send their kids to school, and they made Harley Davidson parts, and now that's all outsourced to China, and they don't have a job. And I'm like, why can't this continue, right? I was also in the printing industry right after high school, and computers took over my job. I learned a trade. So I figured if I can't beat them, join them, just kind of like you. But there's something in me, and I've always I've always been a why kid as a kid. So I've always wanted to find out why is this happening? And, people such as yourself with high intelligence, mathematics and programming and working at Google, coming out to find out, actually stepping up. I bet there's a lot more people like you, but just can't do it because they need to live in this system that we live in today.
That's right.
And that's the hardest thing to get around. So I I commend you in your bravery. I commend you with your message. And let's get into it. Let's get into your Google. You were just on Glenn Beck. You were talking about Google is basically in the league with China to create like an AI Manhattan project. However you want to go, the floor is yours. You can share your screen if you want to show
if you'd like.
your presentation. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm just going to continue the story because it leads into the next.
Perfect.
So I went back to Google and, because I was what they call a regretful leave. So they wanted me to stay, but I didn't. They offered me a job without an interview to, just come back in. And they gave me my choice of where I wanted to work. And so I was like, hey, I want to work on the YouTube team for television. That seems really fun. And it turned out to be like probably one of the best jobs I could get in YouTube or at Google at all, because the product that I worked on touched a significant fraction of 1 billion people. And that felt really cool. And everything was really nice until, and so I went back in 2016, August, and August was great. September was great. October, and then October, and then like November we had the election, and that's like when everything changed. Like if you want to like say like what was the point that everything like went downhill, it was like the day after the election things started to go downhill, and it went downhill really fast. I would end up seeing the company betray its mission statements of organizing the world's information and making it universally accessible and useful. And I would see it betray its mission statement of don't be evil. And it was like clockwork. Like Trump won and they're like, okay, we got to like start changing the company because Trump won because of all this fake news. And so we need to be responsible citizens and start clamping down on all this fake news and disinformation and locking down the internet.
So now we're evil.
Like, time to lock down the internet, and it's just like, and they expected us to just sort of like kind of like go with it. And for someone that's me, like, I've got this like libertarian bent, and Google sold itself as like this libertarian company. And so I was like, wait, everything that we did has been really worked really well. Like we're almost $1 trillion company. Why are we switching gears and locking down the internet? Like that's just going to cause people to question everything that we've done. We're going to be the bad guys. And our whole business model is built on this libertarian principle of like free and open and bottom up. And there were dissenters, but Google wasn't really interested in listening to them.
We're going to be open and all that until you don't agree with us.
Yeah, exactly. And they had and so it was clear that they had an agenda, and they were like marching towards this agenda to control the information landscape. And so I started to get concerned, and there was this meeting of the executives about 1 week after Trump won the election. And it was a sit down, and they were like, well, this is what, Trump's election means to the company. And the things that they said were just so radical, right? Like, so Sergey Brin said that he was personally offended at the election of Donald Trump. The CFO broke down in tears, crying, saying that I think we're going to lose this one. And I'm like, what do you mean we're going to lose this one? Like, what are they talking about? Hillary Clinton is
over there.
is like, yeah, she's over there, and she's one of the most evil people in existence. She sold off 20% of America's uranium. Like, okay, I get it. Like, you don't like Trump, okay? Like, I heard it so many effing times. Like, exactly. I get it. You don't like Trump.
Let me, hey Zach,
you're gonna
love
cry
America
over Hillary Clinton not getting the presidency? Are you kidding me?
Let me go ahead and play that really quick, okay? I got it right here. Okay,
you got it right. Okay.
Yep, hang on. Let me play that because this is important to see. I mean,
very nice.
All right, here we go. Let me just get over here.
Okay, folks. I know this is probably not the most joyous TGIF we have had. Let's face it, most people here are pretty upset and pretty sad for because of the election. But there's another group, small group, that we should also think about, who are very excited about the legalization of pot.
Here, if you go down, you're going to see the timestamps. Just go down the time. Just go down.
Oh,
okay,
gotcha.
So yeah,
So
1 minute 12 is that. There's a CFO that is yeah. So 1310 CFO Ruth Pratt appears to break down in tears when discussing it. Go to 1310.
We'll do.
Watch this video.
Let's do it right now.
Do it live.
We'll do it live, Zach.
Politics, because we're going to constantly fight to preserve them. I want to take you back to 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday night. I was at home with friends and family watching the election returns. And as we started to see the direction of the voting, I reached out to someone close to me who was at the Javits Center where the big celebration was supposed to occur in New York City, somebody who'd been working on the campaign. And I just sent him a note and said, you know, are you okay? It looks like it's going the wrong way. And I got back a very sad, short text that read, people are leaving, staff is crying, we're gonna lose.
Wow.
That was the first moment I really felt like we were gonna
I'm
lose.
unempathetic.
It was this massive, like, kick in the gut that
Go
we
back.
were gonna lose.
Like
And
we
it
were.
was really
That was the
painful.
first time that we
And the
were
thing
going
that
to
hit me,
lose.
and I've talked
What?
about it here before, was like Sergey, my father was a refugee, and we moved to this
Let me see.
country, and as a
Didn't go
child,
back for me. Hang on.
people are leaving, staff is crying, we're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the first moment I really felt like we were gonna lose, and it was this massive,
Because you committed
like,
treason.
kick in the gut that we were gonna lose, and it was really painful. And the thing that hit me, and I've talked about it here.
Interesting, Zach. Wow. Do you want to look at any others real quick? But while we have this,
Yeah, there's one. The content is terrible, but he says it so well that you think that it's actually something that you would agree with.
not in.
All right, so it's I think it's 27. It might be that. So it's Sundar Pichai, and what he's going to talk about is how he's going to use his AI. So go down a little bit. Go down a little bit. No,
Yes,
no,
sir.
go down. Go down.
Got it. And there's Bryn comparing Trump voters to extremists, arguing for a correlation between economic background of Trump supporters and the kinds of voters who back extremist movements. Voting is not a rational act, says Bryn.
Yeah, well, he said that people voted in fascism because of boredom. That's what he says in this whole speech.
I'm bored.
So what's really important here is Sundar Pichai. Can you just search for Sundar Pichai?
Yes. And it's S-U-N.
No. In this document. In this
I'm sorry.
document.
Yes.
Yeah, this document.
Control F. How do you spell that? P-A-C?
Just go Sundar. S-U-N-D-A-R.
Thank you, sir.
Again. Hit it. Okay.
Promises work towards correcting Google's role. 27?
Yeah. So I guess that's it. Go to 27.
All right, let's go. Here we go to 27, folks.
This is really important to the whole story, so it's going to tie in.
I'm glad we're doing this. Thank you.
All right.
Here we go. Let me get to 27. Let me go back just a little bit. It doesn't let me get to right to 27, so we will go right there. Here we go.
Difficult problem to tackle, but I think it's a moment of reflection, as I said.
I'm sorry. Let me try it one more time.
I think it's good. I think, it's Sergey said it. This is a deep issue. I think over time, as we, we are definitely in the role. It's our core mission to help users discover information. There are many places where we are ranking. We are algorithmically doing stuff. So over time, understanding some of the things that are happening and course correcting. I think it's good, but it's a very difficult problem to tackle, but I think it's a moment of reflection, as I said earlier, for a lot of us, and I think there's good feedback in the question.
But let's do an audience question. Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of Googlers are maxing out on their
Algorithmic.
That wasn't it. There was another spot, but let me just sort of paraphrase. he just says that there's like a lot of misinformation and fake news, and that one of the strongest things that they had was using Google's machine learning in order to suppress it. And I went, what?
Right.
Like suppressing fake news. God, I want to.
Here he is. Will develop machine learning and AI to combat what employees described as misinformation and shared. So.
By low information voters.
By low information voters. There it is.
Yeah, so
obviously he doesn't tell us where that is in
the uninformed.
Yeah.
No, that's where it is, right there.
5433.
54. Yeah, go there.
Let's do it. We're doing this live. Live dig with Zach Vorhies and Shady Grooove. And we said 54, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though we
might even want to catch the question that happens right.
Here we go.
Look at the question. Look at the question that just gets asked. So if you could full screen it.
Okay, are we amplifying people's existing beliefs through our personalization algorithms?
There is a lot of talk underway.
Let me just do that again because full screen didn't work well. Let me just do it one more time.
It's closer to 54, right?
Yeah.
In Congress changing.
Go to 54.
It's like really hard to get right where we want to be. Here's
see
5345.
a bit more, scientific and data-based and empirical work around this to understand what's
54.
happening.
Yep, coming up.
And I'm not fully sure I fully understand what's happening there at a deeper level, but I think it's something we should think a lot about our products. As I said, we core to our goal is getting information. A bigger question I'm also worried is I think we are getting information and improving knowledge, but I don't think it's reaching certain people at all. So there seems to be a selection bias. People who are able to acquire the knowledge, I think they have more and more better tools and better ways to do it. But I think there are people who are completely being left out too. So these are all good questions to ask and work through as we head into next year.
Audience question, yes.
So Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it useful. But during this election cycle, we've seen a lot of misinformation, disinformation.
Of course, it buffers. Hang on.
We've seen a lot of fake news coming from fake news websites being shared by millions of low information voters on social media. And ultimately, there's been many, many people who've been voting, who've been acting based on completely made up information. So can Google do anything to try to filter this out, to try to do something against very organized, very intense campaigns of disinformation targeted at low information people?
Look, I think our investments in machine learning and AI is a big opportunity here. There are work we have done. The Jigsaw team did around what they call conversation AI, around to look at bullying and commenting, and so a lot of this is a problem of scale and not being able to keep up. So like human systems fail in many of these things. So I think, but investing more in machine learning and AI could be one way we actually make progress on some of this stuff. But I think we should do more.
And probably worth noting, this also ties into cybersecurity because we saw a lot of...
Wow.
Yeah. He says it really well, so that you don't even think that it's bad. But when you listen to the content of it, he's admitting that they've been dipping their foot into the censorship of the internet, and they're going to continue and ramp that up.
That's right.
So when I heard that, I was like, wait, what? Wow. And so I started looking into Google's definition of what fake news is, because if something's fake, someone's got to pass judgment and say, well, this is fake and this is not fake, right? And so I started asking myself, well, what exactly is fake news according to Google? And what I found was a document that listed as examples that included real world events, such as Hillary running weapons to ISIS in order to arm them in Syria. And they were listing that as a fake news item. And I went, wait a minute. This isn't about fake news. I think this is about controlling the narrative.
Boom.
And they're losing control of the narrative, so they're now going to use their, intelligence assets, i.e. Google, to lock this stuff down. And as I started to, investigate more, because I'm a sleuth, I started to investigate more. I started to uncover this machine learning fairness program that they had in secret. And I went, wow, what is this machine learning fairness, right? Because, if there's ever going to be a censorship regime, it's always going to be dressed up in the nicest language possible. And what I realized is that fairness was that sort of thing, because how could you be against fairness?
Right. Right.
So I started realizing that there were a bunch of little sub programs within this. There was like Twiddler, there was like SuperRoot, there was like Project Purple Rain. They were monitoring the internet 24/7, looking for trends, and then if there was a trend that popped up, they would boost it or they would like tank it.
Right.
Kind of the same way that Twitter does with its trending stuff, right? Like exposed CNN never got to the trending list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can imagine that Google's got their own team that basically monitors the entire planet for happenings.
In real time, 24/7, editing and boosting stuff that they want you to see and taking away anything that goes against the narrative.
Yeah, and exactly. And so at the same time, they're telling Congress that like, oh, we don't have political ideology. We don't have like, we don't have any bias. That they act like that can't even happen, right? They can't even happen.
How could you even suggest it?
How could you even suggest it? We've got entire programs dedicated to eliminating bias in our company, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute, they don't use blacklists, and I start like, like that, and I'm like, pull up this thing that's literally called Blacklist in its file name. It's like a YouTube query blacklist, and I'm looking through this blacklist, and I'm like, well, what exactly are they like blacklisting? Half of it, like 20 pages of this 40-page blacklist, was just on Stephen Paddock and the Las Vegas massacre.
Whoa.
And I'm like,
interesting.
What? And guess what else is listed there? Every mass casualty event. They're sitting in there trying to prevent people from finding crisis actors, from finding the real names of these people, from finding like I think David Hogg had a bunch of like videos where he's like forgetting his lines.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like they're literally like blacklisting search queries involved with David Hogg forgetting his lines. It's like, why does this superpowered technology company
need to be doing this
crap about whether people are searching for David Hogg messes up his lines?
Because he's working right with them.
Right, because it's collusion. It's a collusion operation, and they're part of the cover-up. And they don't want this information going viral, because the information is going viral, and people are sharing the video. And this is the reason why I started realizing that certain videos started to become really hard to find. Like stuff would happen, you'd be able to find this video, people would share it, and then you search for it later and you can't find it anymore. It's like gone. It's like, where did all this stuff go? And what I realized is that they're in on this. That's when I realized that the mass shootings might actually be staged.
Hey, real quick too, if anybody wants to find that, I have it right here on Twitter. Zach, check it out. Can you see the live leak with him practicing his lines?
Wow, can you play it? Let's play
see.
Where people that had friends die.
Wait, hang on. I don't have you on share. Let me just
I see it.
Oh, can you hear it though?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I hear everything.
Here we go.
My sister has been crying so much because she lost her 3 best friends that she can't even fucking speak. She can't even speak. That's unacceptable.
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is how I actually became, popular, is showing that there were 3 shooters. People saying 3 shooters, and that it was a drill, because they thought it was a drill, because a drill was happening that day. This lady right here, saw. This is all on Twitter, guys.
She's
in the
dead
moment
now.
I wasn't,
Yes.
because there was obviously definitely another shooter involved.
Right.
There's a lot of people from the Vegas shooting who saw multiple shooters who are dead now as well.
This one is
Just 1 week
corroborates
ago,
the first video that I have in this
Valentine's
thread.
Day.
This
Creative
is the
writing teacher Stacy
that got shot. This is them telling. This is them coming into the school. This is a drill, guys. Remember this. They were
and
actually
the whole school thought it was going to be a drill.
They were actually in Moolah, and here's Broward County Sheriff teaching local mosques to defend themselves. Then we've got the sheriff down here teaching us to run and hide. You see, here he is right here, run, hide. So this is how I actually became, somewhat, popular on Twitter. Was my Parkland thread right here that you can still get every day. David Hogg, this was his YouTube. It's gone, but I got it.
By the way,
archived.
you can get those videos back. Web Archive, I just found out, archives YouTube videos.
Look at how they were dressed. Well, this is on Twitter. You can do @InTheMatrixx on Google. Believe it or not, they've got me very well cataloged.
I'm saying for those videos that are being removed.
Oh yeah.
YouTube, they exist on Web Archive. FYI.
Gotcha.
He's just letting everybody out there know that they can still get those if they're looking for them.
I'm just going to go ahead and retweet this thread for you so you can check it out later. All right, so back to you with censoring that.
But yeah, that's interesting. He was talking about the narrative and the way that the selective editing of the news stories around the shootings, because so much of the Q stuff that we've been taking apart and has been coming out about Google, about the servers, about how they're
you guys hold on a second. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and finish your thought, Shady.
Yeah, I was just saying about everything that we've heard about Google and about the servers and about them being over there in North Korea, and then the way he's explaining their reactions, like the way they reacted to what happened in Las Vegas, and then look at all of the information right after Las Vegas. Remember, that was October 2017, and the Q started to post on the 28th right then, and so that literally is like right at the time of all of this unfolding, the election. They started freaking out. They literally were coming unglued to the seams, and he's kind of given an inside view of that. It's crazy.
And proof, Shady. I mean, it seems like to me he's got proof. I mean, he's talking about right here, they fringe rank classifier, and they define who can get boosted in their web search and who can't.
Yes.
And it's very, very interesting. CNN is a 6.0. I mean, even Alex Jones is, even though it's a negative, it's there. So welcome back, Zach. We're just kind of talking about.
I'm muted now. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I've got
no problem.
I've got another meeting or interview at 10:45. So
okay.
So let's get to this, because what I want to show you guys is my presentation at the American Priorities Conference. In the Matrixx, you've already seen this. I guess I gotta start calling you Jeffrey now.
You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. Absolutely, Jeffrey in the Matrixx. I did have to come out, and I actually think it's been a good thing. Actually, it's we talked about that as well, and you gave me some good advice too. So thank you for that.
Yep. So I don't know if you can you see this on my
Not yet. See
not
where
yet.
the share screen is? The share on the bottom, it's green, and it'll have a folder with an arrow up. Hit that.
Yeah.
Pick what you want to share. Screen or your actual window or your actual. There you go. Look at that.
Okay. Let's go.
Boom. All right, here we go. Zach Vorhies. This is an amazing presentation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this is what Google does to whistleblowers.
Oh my God.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Is that you?
That's me.
Yeah, that's him, right? Whenever
That's
they
me
were
recording with the phone in my right hand.
Yep.
Wow,
I saw this. This is. They were trying to make it seem like he was crazy. They were calling all this stuff into the cops about him.
This is what
they thought he was. They were. I think they were claiming that you were a threat to yourself or something. I can't remember.
They called in a wellness check. It's part of like the red flag thing. You know?
Right.
Wow, dude. Unbelievable.
So, they're trying to do a wellness check. All they wanted to do was ask me a bunch of questions related to whether I wanted to hurt myself or hurt anyone, or if I hadn't been on any medications, And to ask me this question, they literally shut down Valencia Street from like 20th to like 22nd. They evacuated the stores around my house, the theater. They called in a bomb threat. House.
This was near your home, correct?
At my house.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And I didn't want to come out, so they were just going to set up shop with and work it in shifts, waiting for me to come out. So I eventually just was like, well, okay, well, I think that they may just invent some circumstance to come into my house, and then maybe I get shot, right? And then the cameras are deactivated and it's a cover up. So what I decided to do is like, well, look, if I'm going to go out, then I might as well go out with a bunch of cameras on me. And so
that was very smart.
I came out, and they got to ask me their questions. I worried that they were going to take me in and give me a psychological evaluation that would, the guy would be like, oh, he's crazy. And then Google would be like, oh, he's crazy. He needs to be in lockdown for 2 weeks.
If this doesn't show you, audience and people out there, you guys need to share this. This is information that Google went through so much hassle to frame this gentleman right here, Zach Vorhies, whistleblower, to show you how they are actually censoring the web. It's true that they're doing it, guys.
Maybe even a little bit, on top of that, I mean, look at what they can do. Okay, we've been watching the Department of Justice and the FBI attack the sitting president relentlessly. And so now you're seeing Google somehow able to manipulate law enforcement to harass a human being because he doesn't want to work there anymore, or because he's telling the truth about what they're doing. And now what we're seeing going on in Hong Kong and China, and the correlations between, what they want you to know, what communism is, and what this is. I mean, this is a company calling in a fake threat to law enforcement.
Yeah.
That's what that is. I mean, that's a felony, what they did to make the phone call to law enforcement to begin with.
Yep. It was really dumb on their part. I think they just figured that I would like fold like all the other people. What they don't realize is that I've got like some sort of like, I think I had like some king killer in my past. I'm not entirely sure.
I think we all had a little bit of that.
Yeah. So, I just leveraged it. I mean, my general strategy in all this is they can do whatever they want. I'm just going to use whatever they're going to do and leverage it for the Great Awakening and let the people know what's going on. Because I know that that's really their weak point. They want to tell us what they're going to do, and then we just sort of accept it and pretend it's not happening. But if there's a happening, then I just need to share that as far and as wide as possible, and it'll wake people up, and then their plans will be destroyed. So.
Well, I think I definitely want you to know that your voice is getting out there. Lots and lots of people are hearing you, and a lot of people are waking up to understand the connection that we all have with this deep state system, with Q and pointing us towards all this stuff, showing us that it was all the same. It's not, there's not a difference between Amazon, Microsoft, and all of these other companies. They're all coordinating in tandem in the background. And now we're seeing all the stuff that's used for censorship. It comes from hiding things, and what you are uncovering is them hiding stuff. And what Americans don't like is for companies to be hiding things from them. And so, really, just so much appreciation to all of the uncomfort that you've experienced because you are a libertarian, because you are an American, because you are a patriot, and because you believe that your country is worth saving.
That's why you fight.
Because literally, this is an attack on our country. I know it seems like a company, but this is like the largest company on planet Earth. They control all the information. I go back to the internet at 1995, 96, whenever you could actually access information on the internet. Google has destroyed that and captured it all and then hidden it. It's crazy what they've done.
Yep. Yeah. They're trying to censor it. Like they built their entire platform on a free and open internet, and now they're trying to shut the doors. Prevent anyone else in. So anyway, continuing on with the slide deck, the thing that I'm disclosing to the general public is a program called Machine Learning Fairness. And to understand machine learning fairness, we have to understand what algorithmic unfairness is. Now, let's give an example of what Google thinks algorithmic unfairness is. Let's say that you're, searching for CEOs. And let's say that Google image search returns a predominantly male-oriented CEO result. Well, even if that was objectively true, Google would still consider that algorithmically unfair and justify intervention via product intervention. So basically what they're defining as algorithmically unfair is reality itself. And so they're going to take corrective action. Okay. And so, as I stated, objective reality is algorithmically unfair. And the, sort of the extension of that, like what happens when you take that to its fullest extent? And what we see is, these weird cultural terms, like forget like Hillary Clinton, and the Clinton body count being suppressed. Like what we've got now is this assertion that men can cook, men can have periods, men can have babies now, and men can get pregnant.
Ooh, I'm feeling lucky.
By the way, men can cook. They can cook really well.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's the best cook ever. But all the rest of the stuff about men can have babies, men can have periods, men can get pregnant. This is just like, this is nonsense.
Yeah, Zach, I'm not feeling so lucky on that one. Wow.
And then you look at like what they're doing with women, and you see the agenda coming in, right? Like women can be drafted. And it's like, well, wait, women can be drafted? Wait, who's searching for this?
Mm-hmm.
And what Google's saying is that these are all search terms that are being generated by users, and that they're just giving the search results.
Right.
And what's really insane about this is that you don't have your skeptical glasses on, like when you see this. And so when you see what other people are searching for, what you realize is, this is what the crowd is doing. This is the consensus. And people are themselves consensus animals, like we're herd animals. We go with whatever the consensus is. So if Google can project a false consensus, then people will go along with it thinking that it is the consensus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the question that I have is, why is Google doing this? And the answer is like really simple. And I found it in this slide deck, and it's a 4-step process. You create this training data, you use this training data to, create these algorithms, these machine learning algorithms. You then use that algorithm to classify media, aggregate them together and then filter it. And then as a final step, people like us are programmed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first saw this, I was like, what? And I was like, well, maybe this is just like one person's misguided, thinking. Maybe there's just like one mad scientist. But no, it turns out that it exists in other slides as well. And this is like a feedback loop, right? So as people are programmed, and they generate different data, and then we are able to take that data and use it to generate a new class of algorithms that then reclassify, refilter all of the data, and then we're programmed again. And so if you use this cycle over and over and over again, what you get is you get to move society in the way that you see fit. This is what Google's describing.
So they use that word, people are programmed. They use that phrase.
Yeah, people are programmed.
Wow.
People like us are programmed.
Wow is all I got. No words. Wow, guys. If you guys are enjoying this presentation, hit 17. Thanks, Zach. Continue.
They put it right there on the surface, man.
Yeah. Continue.
How many people are in the chat right now?
We don't know yet. It'll be broadcast once we're done. There'll probably be about 500-600 people in there.
Okay, cool. All right. So, this is a generalized filter bubble.
And interesting how it represents, like you said, the feedback loop. It's just it's secular in a way that it's constantly it's policing itself.
Yeah, and it goes against the entire notion that they're organizing the world's information and making it universally accessible. Right? If they're filtering, they're not making it universally accessible and useful. They're making it not universally accessible and not universally useful if it's not accessible. So, and here's the thing, they lied, right? Like they didn't just like say this like willy-nilly. Like Google published this right before they went IPO. So all these investors came in with this understanding that Google was going to do no evil. Right. And now they're backtracking on this, which should be like, where's the SEC on this? Like they should be investigating Google and auditing them. Mm-hmm. Because if you fundraise off a mission statement and you change it, like what if GM was like, hey, we're just not going to sell cars anymore. We're going to sell
refrigerators,
candy canes, candy canes. We're going to go to the candy cane business, right? Like, be like, no, what?
I'm not eating a GM candy cane.
Well, the investors would be very disappointed. Absolutely. I mean, what?
Yeah.
That's not why we invested in you.
So this all started to happen, after Trump won the election. Like, maybe it was happening before, but like on a simmering level. But after Trump won the election, Google decided that they were going to turn this to a full boil. And let's just actually get, to understand the gravity of the situation. Let's get
one of the most Susan Wojcicki.
Yeah, let's get one of the most hated CEOs in all of the country, Susan of YouTube, have her what she's going to say about authoritative news.
Oh, I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No. Did you share your sound when you shared your screen? There's a little button you got to share your sound. Sorry. So go ahead and leave unshare. Just say stop share.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
And then share again. And then there's when you hit that, when you see the box come up, it'll say share computer sound.
Okay.
You'll pick your window, share computer sound. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. By the way, Sergey Brin.
What? They didn't. That's so ridiculous.
You got it? Sergey Brin, Google founder, was born in Moscow. He's married to Anne Wojcicki, 23andMe founder, was brother-in-law to Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube. DARPA. Okay.
Yeah.
DARPA.
All right, here we go. That was actually a Q post, by the way. All right, so now you're back, and now we will be able to hear this video. Here we go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
So what are we doing? Basically, this sounds easy, but it's really hard to do. We're pushing down the fake news, we're demoting it, and we are increasing the authoritative news and promoting it. How do we do that? We have a whole system. We came up with trashy news where we have build classifiers, we identify it, we look for salacious, for clickbait, content that isn't, that we don't think is the authoritative news. It's just kind of encouraging people to look at, but it's not true. We're training, we added these instructions to our raters, and we've updated our classifiers, and we are working to understand, identify that with machine learning, and then to push that down.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to assign an authoritativeness score, okay? Now, I'm sitting here, at this stream conference, and I'm like, and she's telling me this, and it's hitting me, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do this fake news," and I'm like, "Wait a minute,
who makes these decisions?
Who makes these decisions? Wait a minute, didn't the credible sources of the establishment lie us into every single effing war that we've ever been into?
Weapons of mass destruction, you name it.
Well, you
name it.
If you Google it, you won't find the right answer, Zach. If you Google it,
no, Google doesn't share.
Right? They did the weapons of mass destruction lie. They had the free trade lie. They've been involved in the deindustrialization of the United States.
And the buildup of China.
The buildup of China. Our global rival on fantasies that they were going to democratize as a result of all this free trade that we were giving them.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that she's gonna boost.
We have one that can see. Oh my gosh, we have one that can see. Zach, hello.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing: is that right after Susan was speaking at the stream event in 2017. Right after she got done presenting, someone else came on who was a broadcast industry exec that worked on Fox News and a bunch of other media companies, I think ABC. And so he was asked about what about fake news? Because they're trying to get approval almost for what YouTube was about to do. And he's like, oh yeah, fake news. That actually turns out to be a really complex problem, and you'll never be able to get rid of it because it's really hard to figure out what's actually fake or not. And I'm sitting there realizing that this guy is dancing around because he knows.
He knows, right.
He knows how the narrative works. He knows that you can't get rid of fake news because they're broadcasting it.
Yeah, and because fake news is the truth.
Yeah. So, Yeah. So and so she got contradicted by the person that like followed her in the follow-up act, which I thought was so hilarious. But obviously, is that going to stop Google? No, they've got an agenda. They've got to push their agenda. So, obviously, at this point, I'm like, okay, so they're trying to look at fake news. What is fake news? Well, this is a slide that I found in Google. And as you can see in the part that I've outlined, WikiLeaks confirms Hillary sold weapons to ISIS, then drops another bombshell, breaking news. And I'm like, well, Hillary did sell weapons to ISIS. Like, that was what the Benghazi emails were about.
And this is part of your, like, maybe aha moment here, like, oh my gosh, she did, right? When you were at Google. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I looked at that and I researched this. So I was like, no, this is actually true,
Yeah, and let's remind people, too, that Hillary did call WikiLeaks Russian as well, just like she called Donald Trump Russian, just like she's calling Tulsi Russian. Everybody's Russian.
Jill Stein is Russian.
She's Russian. So
you're a Russian bot. You get a Russian bot.
Yeah.
You're all Russian bots.
We're all Russia.
Yeah. So let's just let that's, and also I hope people are realizing the magnitude of this. I mean, this is actually a constitutional crisis. Zach, continue.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, wait a minute. They're going to train their machine learning algorithms on this. Well, then, the machine learning algorithm, if it's trained, it's not going to see like, drops another bombshell. It's also going to pick up all the patterns as fake news if it's labeled as fake news. And so what I realized is like, well, are they going to pick up the WikiLeaks confirms is the pattern for fake news? Is it Hillary sold weapons to ISIS? Is that the fake news? Like, and then like right after that, it's like, it's over. Hillary's ISIS email just leaked and it's worse than anyone could have imagined. Well, yeah, that is true. Except for the leak part. Like, it's like the whole thing's true except for like one part, right? This is the scary thing.
Right.
FBI agents suspected Hillary email leaks found dead in apparent murder-suicide. Well, that's almost true. Like, I don't know if this exact title is true, but which FBI agent died that was connected to Hillary Clinton? Like, there's so many, that this has happened. And so I started realizing, I was like, oh my God, this is what am I in? And I start like flipping out and I start going for help to try to find people, because like I start telling some of my friends that are woke about what's going on, and and I'm like, hey guys, like like they're going to start censoring the news, right? Like look at this slide right here. They think the Wall Street Journal is the highest credible news source, and they're putting Fox News in the middle there, and RT America. RT America is way better at defining the world than the Wall Street Journal is. The Wall Street Journal is just propaganda. Like it's kind of interesting. Like Radio Free Europe or whatever, I think whatever the channel was that the United States set up to combat Soviet disinformation. Those counterintelligence narratives were way more effective at educating Russia and its people rather than the Russian state institutions back in the Soviet era, right? And so the same thing is true now. Like Russia Today is much better at informing the American public about the true state of its government than the Wall Street Journal is, which
100%, yeah,
100%. So, Breitbart News is down there at 2.78, and I was just like, wow, the whole thing is inverted. Like if you just flip this upside down, minus the Huffington Post and the Young Turks, you actually have a pretty good idea for what's really going on.
Good point. Great point.
So, then there's stuff like this that's appearing on the discussion boards. Like they tried to, these hate mongers that exist in Google wanted to get rid of Breitbart, So, this slide's a little bit, the original image is a little bit hard to read, so I typed it out, So one person is saying, anyone want to hold their nose and look through Breitbart.com for hate speech? And the response is, hate is really difficult since writers have become very artful in demeaning other groups without being explicit about it. That said, do review Breitbart pages against our hate policies, and we have stopped showing ads on policy violating pages we found. We're working to improve our ability to do this at scale. When sufficient violations have been found, we'll take action at the site level.
Wow. So their machine AI is
is getting better. It's
at the
one, their machine learning is getting better, so they'll be able to do this automatically. Two, if they find a certain threshold of violations from Breitbart, they're going to remove the entire site from the internet.
Wow.
That's what they're saying.
And it's interesting too. It's that you point that out, because look how fast things in China have occurred in the last couple of weeks. Like we had the manager, the NBA manager speaking out, and then the next thing you know, within like 3 days, the whole team's uniforms and memorabilia or stuff for sale in China was gone off the shelf and out of society in like a day.
Wow.
Literally. So now this is like what you're saying there about Google is happening like in real life in China whenever there's something that's edited that they don't want you to look at. I mean, it literally, they said within a day, all of the, Houston Rockets, I think, all of their memorabilia and stuff was off the shelves in a day.
Yep. Well, it's a Chinese-style credit system, and they're trying to bring it into the United States, and they're trying to sneak it in. And it's all a conspiracy theory on the outside, but on the inside, it's a conspiracy fact. And, this is why I started collecting all these documents, all 950 pages of them.
Wow.
So here we go. Let's go to the next, right? So, I talked a little bit about a crisis response team. Mm-hmm. And the goal was, to have this, 24/7, planetary monitoring system that would look at all the different news that was coming out and figure out which news to boost up and which news to sink. Okay. And the result of this is what you see here. This is a few of the choice selections that I took from the YouTube query blacklist, which is part of this crisis response, right? So on October 1st, we had the shooting. On October 2nd, there was an emergency all hands meeting. There's all this misinformation going around about, Trump and the Las Vegas shooting. Actually, they didn't mention Trump. They said there was a whole bunch of fake news about the Las Vegas shooting, that they're trying to profit off of it. And so Google's going to clamp down on all this fake news. Two blacklists, one blacklist got generated, another one got populated. In fact, I think this YouTube query blacklist might have actually been generated for this, because all the first terms, you can see there on the very left, that they have the hashtags that starts the file.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You got 64 Stephen Paddock, and all the different spellings of his name. And so I believe this blacklist was actually generated as a result of this thing. And what happens is that, they declare an emergency, they create this blacklist, and then as time progresses, the blacklist never really gets deleted. It just gets added to as time progresses. So, this is what the information they're trying to hide.
And this document so far is 40 pages long right now, this blacklist.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And also interesting too that and I'm not sure, Zach, if you're aware of this, but per the Q post and the stuff that's actually happened with the Vegas shooting, the president was in Las Vegas that night, and so was bin Salman from Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting that not a lot of America knows the president was actually there that night whenever that happened, and now you're seeing this, which looks to me like I could look back on this and say this is a cover-up of an attempted assassination.
You should data mine this blacklist. I think it'll blow your mind.
I'm planning on it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Matrixx, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. It is, absolutely.
Yeah. So what you see here is anything that involves videos, Stephen Paddock being a Democrat or anti-Trump, those associations are broken, and anything that involves Stephen Paddock being
a
pro-Trump,
Democrat, yeah, anti-Trump,
those are left.
Yep. Wow.
So, yeah. So
this
the part that was sort of the breaking point for me, that I was like, okay, I can no longer be silent, was this Covfefe event. And so let's go back, to May 2017. Trump goes to Saudi Arabia. He returns. He makes this tweet, despite the constant negative press, Covfefe. Well, a bunch of people on the internet figured out what Covfefe meant. And the reason why was because there's like an old antediluvian term, Covfefe, which meant we will stand up to the fallen. But then there was also one that was that occurred because of translate.google.com. And that translation was, we will stand up. And so, if you decode this whole tweet with the Google Translate, what you'll get is, despite the constant negative press, we will stand up. The internet went wild. So the New York Times created a article on June 1st, the next day, and what they say here is, the internet is full of confident people who do not know what they are talking about. The latest example, a conviction spreading in right-leaning social media communities that a garbled tweet by the president, he wrote Covfefe, was not a late-night typo, but was instead Mr. Trump sending a message to the world in Arabic. And this article goes on saying that actually it's nonsense. The person that found that's an expert in Arabic says that it's not a word. This is just nonsense. So what did Google do? Google created a design document the very same day, and they used this New York Times article in order to justify taking out the definition of the word Covfefe. Okay. Wow. And the team responsible for censoring this word called themselves the Derrida team. Now, I don't know if you're aware of a philosopher by the name of Jacques Derrida, but he advocated for the destruction of Western civilization through the manipulation of language. He was also the father of postmodernism. Real shining individual.
Wow, that's very telling. Wow, Zach.
Yeah. So, and then, on June 7th, there was this push to invoke the 25th Amendment against, a duly elected president. And, here's the Washington Post saying that, it clearly applies that the president is incapacitated for some other mental or physical inability. So his inability to write a tweet and make sense because they deleted the word was the reason why they were going to.
What a convoluted thought form.
Dude, when you see this all in action as it unfolds, it's just effing mind-blowing.
I was going to say, just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me is when they use that term, and here's what you should know about it. Here's what you need to know. I mean,
here's the point. Hey, you need to know.
You need to reject that right away and say, do I really need to know this? And go ahead.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I'm seeing the details of this mind control apparatus, and I realized this isn't just a bunch of brainwashed individuals. This is a highly coordinated agenda that's unfolding, and that this is nothing less than sedition. Okay,
100%.
Could actually be treasonous.
Correct.
Conspiracy to engage in a coup attempt against a duly elected president. But if it's not that, at least it's sedition. And now that I know that this is happening, I now realize if I don't do anything, I'm actually part of the coup attempt. I'm doing it.
You are. Yep.
By not bringing it to the attention. It's like, you know,
assessed your situation properly.
I think you described it as almost as like atonement in a way, right? Like
yeah, that's how I described it with Project Veritas, as an atonement. But that was on a spiritual level. This one's a pure, like what I'm talking about right now is purely a legal construct. Like I'm aware of a seditious activity by Google. I'm now an accessory unless I come forward and blow the whistle. So the problem now is, you know, who do I trust in the media and law enforcement? Because this is still, you know, 2017. QAnon is starting to ramp up. They say that the whole government's corrupt. And I'm like, well, if I go to the New York Times and, you know, who's been leading this coup, they're just going to stab me in the back and, you know, turn me in, you know, neutralize me. So I need to go find, you know, a legitimate news source that can push this out to the public. And so, you know, going through my network, I find out that the answer to that is going to be Breitbart or Project Veritas. I talked to the Breitbart guys, and they're like, you know, hey, you should talk to Project Veritas. They're really the people to bring in the human element on this major story, because Breitbart just does like hit after hit after hit.
Right.
You know, but they're doing
story.
it. They're keyboard warriors. Right. This is a major story. It needs investigative journalism. They said
gumshoe work.
Yeah, sick James O'Keefe on it.
He is the man.
And we talked about earlier, but before the show, isn't it amazing that Expose CNN didn't even trend? So that kind of shows that Twitter has this same kind of
Skiff was trending yesterday.
Yeah, it was. I was actually really surprised about that.
I was too.
So, yeah. So, you know, the last part of this slide deck is something that's actually really important to
yes, it is,
to the Patriot community, because of big pharma and how it makes people sick with all the drugs that they have. You know, people are looking for alternative health, you know, nutrition-based health, and these supplements are huge business, right? Because if it turns out if you're anti-government and you think that there's a cabal in charge, then you're not going to be taking their poison pills. You're going to be taking like vitamins, and you're going to be taking it from reputable people. And so, you know, these people that are speaking out against deep state, they're funding themselves through nutrition and these supplements. And so it turns out that Google's now going after these people, these nutrition, these alternative health, you know, that are against big pharma. Google is wanting to take them down, and you know, they've cleaned this up since this has been disclosed. But,
oh wow, look at that!
Yeah, this is censorship. You know,
that it is, my friend.
Supplements are bad. Supplements are useless. Supplements are not regulated. Supplements are bad for you. Supplements are dangerous. Supplements are scams. You know, finally, supplements are good for you, but then supplements are garbage. Supplements are not regulated by the FDA. That's what they want for us to think about supplements. You know,
meanwhile, 65% of the people are on prescribed medication.
Oh, it's gross, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, this is one of the search terms they found in this, you know, YouTube controversial query blacklist. I don't know why cancer cure is controversial, but you know, they're trying to hide this from us
because they don't want us to have it.
Yeah. Well, actually, it turns out that there's 2 cancer cures that exist.
This is amazing.
Very effective.
Check this out.
There's more. There's actually, yeah, there's quite a number of things that are effective, but if you keep interjecting poison, it keeps amplifying the problem.
And they're literally giving you mustard gas as one of the cures for, or you know, the treatments of cancer.
I understand that.
Check it out.
You trying to show something?
No,
Jeff?
no. Go ahead. I wanted you to tell what is the name of that? Are you getting to that? The name of that one?
The cancer cures?
Yes.
Oh, they're vitamin B17, also called Loratril. You don't even need to get the medication for it. You can just
take it.
You can just get raw apricot seeds, which taste nasty, but they're filled with this Loratril.
And it's helped a lot of people.
Yeah, this one guy actually got jailed for selling the apricot seeds because the FDA said that, hey, it was like this arm wrestling champion, and he got cancer like 3 times, and every time he got it, he just ate all these apricot seeds, and then
it went away.
Cancer. Yeah, and then And then it came back, and then he ate them, and then they went away again. And so he beat it, and then the third time it was the final time. So he opens up a cancer center, and he starts treating people by just giving them these almonds and like facilitating quality, not almonds, apricots.
Yeah.
And so he starts facilitating, and he lists that these apricot seeds cure cancer. And the FDA came in and said, look, if you're going to claim that apricot seeds cure cancer, then these apricot seeds are classified as a drug, and the FDA can regulate them, and they put them in jail for 5 years.
Wow.
Mind-blowing story.
In America.
The other cancer cure is called GC-MAF, and GC-MAF is a classification of things, and it stands for macrophage activating factor. And GC means like glycol protein or some sort of glycanated thing. So like glycanated macrophage activating factor. And it turns out that all cancers have in common this protein that they emit, and it's an enzyme, and this enzyme deactivates the production of GC-MAF within the body. Okay, and so your body produces it naturally. If cancer is effective, then it will produce this enzyme that will cleave GC-MAF and prevent it from forming from the macrophages. But it turns out that if you just take GC-MAF, like inject it into your bloodstream, then it will like blow away all of the, it will override the don't eat me enzyme. I think it's called Negalese or Negalese. And it will override that, and the macrophages will suddenly see the cancer again, and it'll start eating the cancer. And as long as you keep on treating yourself with GC-MAF over and over and over again, then the tumor will slowly shrink as your body starts eating all of it. And it's really, really, really effective. And they've had it for 25 years, and now they're in their 5th generation of GC-MAF, and it's called Immuno. And you can get it we can't get it in the United States, and you can't get it in the UK. In fact, there was a guy that was selling this, unknown name from Washington, D.C. is calling me. Can you guys hold on just a quick second? I'll be back.
Yep. And the GC-MAF, I heard that at the thing, and I believe it's MAPH. I can't remember.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Frank. Yeah.
And, Google is trying to change it.
I'm on another radio. I'm on
clinical grade GC-MAF, MAF. And it is GC-MAF Plus. You can get it on the internet. So it's GC-MAF, folks. Very interesting stuff. And Google is suppressing the search results for the cure to cancer. Remember Q says, Shady, What if we have the cures?
What if we have the cures? What if all of this stuff that's plaguing society is actually engineered bioorganisms?
That's right. And really quick, while we're waiting for Zach again,
I think he's going to have to go pretty soon.
We've got the Windows capture. We got Sergey Brin, Google. Here we go. We're talking about Sergey Brin. Here are those. Here's the one: Google True Origin Party lies in CIA and NSA research. Right there. There's the article that Q pointed us to. And obviously Zach is uncovering this, and it's not something that we did not know, folks. I mean, this is happening, right? Very interesting, and he's actually exposing it with actual evidence, folks. Now, it's no longer just really a theory.
He was working there. He was watching them do this, and then he got so uncomfortable. I mean, I can't imagine how many Americans are working there that are just like going home to their significant others at night and being literally scared to death.
That's right.
Of what's happening here. Not to even realize what would happen if you were to say something, but just to know what's happening in the background and no one maybe believe you.
Right. And then what other post did we look at as well? Yep. Hey, welcome back, Zach.
Hey, I got to wrap this up because there's another interview that I got to.
We understand, bud.
You got it. So go ahead and wrap it up for us.
GC-MAF Immuno is going to cure your cancer. Trust me, just research it. You can see how effective it is because the cabal has spent so much time trying to suppress this thing. And they've even murdered a bunch of, I think you might have heard that there were like 80 alternative health doctors that were killed.
Oh, absolutely. We know all about that. Yeah, I've been watching that.
I think like most of them were offering this GC-MAF treatment.
Or the apricot seeds. Some of them were talking about the B17 as well.
Yep. So you know,
they were directing people away from chemo, which is where the deep state gets all angry.
The whole thing just ticks me off. Okay, so anyways, this is what health suppression looks like. Okay, like you got self-hacked. They were almost getting 2 million like views, and then it went down to like near zero. Yeah, down to like 5%. Now, if you look at Mercola, he is the world's biggest doctor, and then he just got like he's getting bigger, and then boom, like there's an algorithm change, and he loses like half his traffic in July of 2008, and then he's able to like he gets hit a bunch of times, and he's able to finally get back up, and then bam,
and they came in with the real algorithm,
maybe site level.
And it goes down to so
nothing.
Yeah. Anyways, little funny meme.
I am altering the search results. Pray I don't alter them any further. Oh, that's awesome.
To get that one.
All right, Zach, final words. I know. Thank you very much for coming. We'll do this again, I hope. Follow him at Perpetual Maniac on Twitter. Zach Vorhies at protonmail.com. Zach, any final words that you would like to leave us with, sir?
Yeah, man, like it's always stormiest before the light. So we just got to keep fighting. We got to support ourselves and each other. Yeah. Because this deep state does not want to go down, and they are fighting us with all that they can, but they are not going to win. The good guys win in the end. And this is a force of nature that's happening.
100%. Well, very well said. What'd you think about JT Wild's new song, Digital Soldiers? Wasn't that pretty cool?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved
it. I think we're gonna head out of here with that song, Zach. Keep in touch, my friend. And thank you so very much, guys. This interview is very, very important. Get it out, share it. We're on Facebook now too, Zach. I got a group over there. We're gonna try to get over there as well and just expand. Zach Vorhies, thank you so much, my friend.
And please come back anytime. We want to have you back on here, and anything that you want to present or just to have a conversation or anything, my friend. You have a lot of support out there in the Patriot community, coast to coast. Don't let the people that are right directly around you fool you. There is a lot of Constitution-loving Americans out there, my friend.
100%.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate all of this. You guys take care.
Zach
see you again.
Thank you. So that's Zach Vorhies, folks. Shady, what a powerful interview.
Wow. That was unbelievable, my friend.
I tell you, we tried to really get together, at the show, and it was kind of difficult just because of his schedule, our schedule. That we were going there, going here, but what an amazing gentleman. So we've talked several times on the phone, and just before here, Shady, myself, and Zach watched the JT Wild Digital Soldiers premiere, guys. It is premiere. It is live. We will send you the link now. And Shady, what do you think we just kind of go out with this song, my brother?
All right, man. We're going to be out of here, guys. We definitely want you to pay extra attention. The conversation is going to shift a little bit, and we've got to start talking about information again, and we've got to start realizing that we are being suppressed. And the digital soldier is you. The digital soldier is the person who moves the information from here into your family members and into the conversation that you're having at the dinner table coming around on the holidays here. We have to heal the wounds, and then we have to assess who we each are. We are not our political interests. We are human beings. We are walking on a planet that should be a fair playing field that's being unnecessarily railroaded against you, and the digital soldiers out there are trying to bring you that message. And JT has done an absolutely extremely unbelievable job with this, Matrixxx. I am so excited to be here with you and to be able to share this with JT and the whole Matrixxx Groove audience
right now. And we're gonna have JT. We're gonna have JT on tomorrow, along with Carly for Friday. This is JT Wild Digital Soldiers. And hey, Shady, a little bird told me that a general might really love this song. By the way, here we go. JT Wild Digital Soldiers, Field of Fight. Oh, let me just preference this. VV on YouTube, crank_the_crank on Twitter did this amazing video. Hat tip to you guys.
irregular warfare at its finest. We have an army of digital soldiers.
And blood, praying for an answer to the Lord up above. How can just one man be the shelter from the storm, knowing that the real war has only just begun? The storm is getting closer. We are the digital soldiers. It's time they run for cover. We are the digital soldiers. Will be redeemed. The sacrifice they make won't be in vain. The fight for freedom is all that remains. We're gonna tell a people's story and make it right again. The storm is getting closer. We are the digital soldiers. The needless wars are over. We are the digital soldiers. We will bring the light to this field of fight. We have been blinded by the lies. We've been living to survive. They will steal and make you pay. When will we walk away? They want you dead before your time. They want you watching while you die. Just live to fight another day. It's time to walk away. The storm is getting closer. We are the digital soldiers. Needless wars are over. We are the digital soldiers. The storm is getting closer. We are the digital soldiers. We are the digital soldiers. We are the digital soldiers. We will bring the fight. Digital soldiers. Yes, we will bring the light to this field of fight. We are the digital soldiers.
Wow. JT Wild, Digital Soldiers with VV.
Wow.
Video production at crank_the_crank on Twitter. Amazing graphics, Shady. Did you see the Q in his glasses?
I saw the Q in his glasses.
And that actually is JT's car. Like, that's what he drives. I love it. What a great representation of the Digital Soldiers. We are taking down that top of the pyramid that was shown there. That's what we're shooting at, guys. That is what we're shooting at, Shady. And with that, this is our final remarks, guys. This is a longer show, but a very important show, folks. Make sure you share it.
We barely scratched the surface there with Zach. I definitely want to get him back in here and kind of pick his brain a little bit further on all the health stuff, because that is definitely where that's where we've got to get to. Is we have to get our information about who we are as an organism is malfunctioned out there. It's completely, the science is all over the place.
And remember, Mission 9 on Q, we're at Mission 8 right now, which is exposing the whistleblowers and the jobs. Mission 9 is the censorship. So I think, Shady, we're going to get closer to that. And I think Zach is a huge part of that. And also, you all out there right now, you are the Digital Soldiers. Keep fighting, even though we're algorithmically challenged. Just keep fighting, because they can't keep, if we keep retweeting and sharing and talking, they can't stop us.
Don't say Ciaramella.
Nothing's going to stop us, guys.
If you say Ciaramella, you might be talking about the fake whistleblower.
All right.
They don't want you talking about that, Anons.
Yep, I don't even know what that is.
That's the name. That's the name. We're pretty sure of the fake Adam Schiff whistleblower.
Gotcha.
We're pretty sure his name is Ciramella, and he's got connections to Brennan, and he's got connections to Kerry, and he's got connections to Ukraine, and it's just a fun fiasco over there.
It's all a game, dudes. It's all a game. We'll be back tomorrow with a fun Friday show. JT
Carly
Wild,
and JT?
yeah, and Shady, and me, and wow,
the two of us too.
We're gonna be there.
Let's just let them come in to do it,
guys.
Since they're so good.
If you, I know we should. They should have their own show. Hey guys, if you guys enjoyed this show, please hit up a 17. We love you very much, guys. We will see you tomorrow, and don't forget to support this show. Links are down below the video description. Much love. Shady, great work today, brother. I love you so much. I love you guys out there so much. Love the mods. At Shady Grooove with 3 O's. In the Matrixxx with 3 X's. In the Matrixxx with 3 X's. Oh, we got a Facebook group. Facebook.com/The Matrixxx Groove Hour. All one word. 3 X's and 3 O's. I guess those are hugs and kisses, right? Catch you guys later. See you tomorrow. Peace.